So can I kindly request everyone to say sadhu to start the discussion session?
Sadhu.
Tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa panchahi bhikkhave dhammehi samannagato bhikkhu Attahitaya cha patipanno hoti parahitaya cha katamehi panchahi ida bhikkhave bhikkhu attana cha sila sampanno hoti pancha sila sampadaya samadapeti attana cha samadhi sampanno hoti parancha samadhi sampadaya samadapeti attana cha panya sampanno hoti parancha panyaya sampadaya samadapeti Attana cha vimutti sampanno hoti parancha vimutti sampadaya samadapeti. Attana cha vimutti jnana darsana sampanno hoti parancha vimutti jnana darsana sampadaya samadapeti. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends in the Dhamma, we have gathered here once again for another mindfulness session. We have practiced for 1.5 hours, and after which usually on every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Brisbane time, we are meeting for this session. Now it's 8 o'clock, or maybe a little past 8. We are now gathered here to the supportive factors of the practice, which means when we do these practices, when you walk on the path of the Buddha, it is important for us to know where we are going, because this is not something that we are being taught in school, not by parents and not by the society usually, and sometimes not even by the temples, right? So here it's a discourse where the Blessed One is sort of giving the responsibility or the duty of a bhikkhu, right? So what he says is, you will have to first look after your welfare. In looking after your welfare, you will have to be a virtuous person. You will have to be a person who has achieved concentration. You should be a person who has accomplished wisdom. You should be a person who is liberated, and you should be a person who has the knowledge and visions of liberation. And if you have these things, or to the extent you have these things, then you will be able to look after the welfare of the others. So if you don't have these things, then it will be a danger. And I see from the experiences whether they have received the right advice, because some of the people, they are not talking about the virtue. Classic example, someone told me today that I have given many talks that it is not necessary for you to be a virtuous person to come to Dhamma. Even if you are an alcoholic, even if you are a womanizer, even if you are a drug addict, you can be mindful of the very same thing that you are doing, and you can come out of it. It's not necessary to be a whitewashed, polished, gold-plated person to come to Dhamma. But some of the very, very senior people, they can't fathom it. They can't understand it. This is not something that I am telling. This is something that the Buddha has said. He has said in the Four Foundations of Mindfulness This is a path for the purification of beings. When you say beings, it's a huge cluster. It's not just the virtuous people, it's a huge, huge cluster. Not only human beings, any being uh, who is able to hear this. And even when you take human beings, absolutely there is no discrimination in giving the purification. So therefore, you should. It is very doubtful whether you will whether you receive the real welfare from so-called places. It's the same thing even regarding concentration, same thing regarding the wisdom, same thing regarding the liberation, same thing regarding the knowledge and vision of liberation. They have their own concepts. They have their own principles. And it is not based on the practice and the teaching of the Buddha. And anything that we practice, if you really look at the discourses, very clearly connected to mindfulness, very clearly connected to pajanati, very clearly connected to passati, very clearly connected to sampajanya, very clearly connected to vijanati, very clearly connected to vipassati. So these are the terms that the Blessed One is using in all the very high quality discourses. I mean, even in the other ones, to some extent, is mentioned. So, therefore, this is a guideline, in my opinion, for all the monks. We will have to ensure whether we are here. So, coming back to the topic, so of these things, and now we are towards the tail end of the discourse, and we have discussed how one can be virtuous, how one can be liberated, how one can be concentrated, wise, and have the knowledge and vision of liberation, and how that can be passed on to the others have been discussed in the previous sessions. Now, what we are discussing at the moment is the knowledge and vision of liberation. So when you take knowledge and vision of liberation, there are 9 stages. If I may signpost them, knowledge of rise and fall, knowledge of dissolution, knowledge of appearance as terror, knowledge of danger. Up to that point, we have discussed. And we are yet to discuss knowledge of dispassion, knowledge of desire for deliverance, knowledge of reflection, and knowledge of equanimity of formations, and the conformity knowledge. So if I may give a brief summary of the 4 points that we have already discussed in the knowledge of rise and fall, where people in their practice, when they bring their attention to the body, or maybe when they bring their attention to the feelings, maybe when they bring their attention to the mental processes, all what there is appearance and disappearance, things appear and disappear, rise and fall. And when you are able to sharpen your mindfulness, when you are able to sharpen your non-reactive ability to see this, then what you simply do is let anything happen, and you simply become a perfect observer, or at least close to a perfect observer. So in that situation, since you are not doing anything and simply keep observing, there will not have more formations. So therefore, gradually, in the knowledge of rise and fall, the speed, the velocity of rise gradually will subside. And then when rising is subsiding, you will start seeing the falling only. You will start seeing the disappearance only. So there will have a point, since you are absolutely still and let things happen, and you have a very sharp, opened mind to see what's going on, it will come to a point that you start seeing the object disappears and the mind that sees that also disappears. Chittampi, I'm sorry. You see both the object and the mind that it sees disappears. We call it Jnatancha jnanancha ubho vipassati. So you see both the sides are disappearing. And when you see that, if you again are not shocked, if you are not alarmed, if you don't start sweating when you see that, and if your observation skill becomes even sharper, what happens is it will come to a point, it will aggravate, the disappearance or the falling will aggregate, and it will come to a point there will have no more formation and everything keeps dissolving. And at that point, you may see complete burst off, or you may see complete, complete so-called dissolving away. So in that manner, when you have that knowledge and vision, so it's something that you will experience. These two are physical experiences, and what you see appearing and disappearing, what you see dissolving is nothing but you yourself. And when you say you yourself, it is the it is the five aggregates. It is the name and the form. It is the form, it is the feeling, it is the perception, it is the mental volition, it is the consciousness that gets dissolved in this manner, that gets arisen and fallen away. So when you experience this physically, what it really challenges and what you really abandon is your notions that the mind was holding for so many eons of time. So our mind has been addicted to consider things as permanent. Our mind is completely addicted to take things as me and myself. Our mind is completely addicted to turn things to pleasure. And those notions are the things that are being attacked, that are being challenged, that are being observed otherwise. So when that happens, the terror appears. It is not the terror that someone is, outside your house to kill you. It is something like that, though, because we have developed this house of name and form. We have built this house of form, feelings, perceptions, consciousness, and mental volitions. The fifth and the fourth should shuffle. This house now seems not having any solidity, not having any permanence, not having any control over. So therefore, it's sort of a terror. You see that this is terrorizing when these things are not permanent and when things are not in your control. So your attitude, your way of looking at things, your viewpoint starts changing. So therefore, the knowledge of appearance as terror is not a real physical experience that you see, but it is a change in the mind. So when this happens, a lot of people just become dumbbound. They just become, things who have lost everything. And I usually use the Sinhala phrase, "Kandata kapu rila." So there are some nuts. When the monkeys eat them, they become completely disoriented. So that happens even to the practitioner, because his orientation was completely on these five aggregates. Now you see, you can't take any reference. You can't rely on these five aggregates. So then you are getting terrorized. Where the heck am I going to now rely upon any further, any longer in the future? So that change in attitude is giving you the next knowledge. It is again an attitude change. What happens there is the knowledge of danger, which we discussed last time. And these are not things that when you practice, you really see happening to you. but you may be able to have some glimpse of this when you listen to a talk like this, or this has happened to me, and this is why I am thinking like this. Not that when you walk on the path, they will have signposts. Okay, first kilometer is passed, second kilometer is passed, third kilometer is passed, or the rise and fall is passed, and the dissolution is passed. You let things happen, and so therefore, as a result, the knowledge of danger will appear. So therefore, in the knowledge of danger, what we discussed last, seeing the terror in the signs and continuation of becoming. It may be becoming in the form of form, or in the materiality or immateriality world. You become not relying on them. You start not liking them. So therefore, anything that involves anything to do with form, anything to do with mind, you don't like. I mean, it's not that you hate. There's a very clear difference between hatred here and then your seeing of it. In the case of hatred, you become really wild. Now you don't become wild, and you ask questions yourself. Why? I don't want to give a birth or any appearance. You don't like the circle of existence. You may not like the signs or causes of them. You may not like the commas that are happening. You may not like the conception, or the initial just appearance of those things. So therefore, anything to do with five aggregate, you will try to get away, and you will try to be with you as much as possible. And now here, when you have this knowledge of danger, it is a very crucial stage when your mind changes like that. You also have the answer. The answer that you have is, now you like observing not rising. You would like observing not falling. You would like observing the dissolution. You would like observing no sign situation. You will like observing not continuity of things. So all this comes because of the mindfulness. You are observing things. So since you are observing things, you have an answer at that capability of observation. The skill of observation is now the answer for the danger that you see. So therefore, the knowledge of it is called the knowledge of danger, because it is having an answer to the danger. If you don't have an answer to the danger, then it is not a knowledge. So therefore, he knows that this answer is an oasis for him. He knows he doesn't want anything. He simply wants to just, survive the day. He just wants to survive this morning. He just wants to survive this afternoon. He just wants to survive this moment. So surviving that moment with observation is an oasis to him. And it is the most pleasant thing for him. It is it is out of the sensual pleasures which he really enjoys, and it is considered as a liberation from the shackles of the existence. So in this manner, he sees the danger of the five aggregates, maybe not only in the sensual world, even in the material and immaterial world, and especially for the practitioner. In this case, the blessed one is talking about not the sensual world. It's mainly talking about those who are practicing, those who are stuck in the material world, and those who are stuck in the immaterial world. Because even the material world and the immaterial world, all what you have is nothing but the five aggregates at varying degrees. So this practitioner is therefore able to see the nitty-gritty of the appearances, nitty-gritty of the five aggregates. He sees when it is there. He sees when it is about to start. He sees when there is a cause to start it. He sees the conception of that because the mind is so sharp. And seeing those things is considered as the answer, so that he sees that he is not getting involved with it and getting bogged down and getting bungled and getting entangled in it. So when he sees that he is not getting involved in that manner, then he's so happy and very happily observing. So when he's very happily observing, then it comes to the next stage of the knowledge and vision. After the knowledge of danger, the next one is knowledge of dispassion. So when the mind is changing in this manner, he is not now going after things that you see from the eye, things that you hear from the ears, things that you taste from the tongue, or the things that the nose is after, so things the body is looking after, things the mind is looking for. He will not be going for those things. He is getting detached from those things because he sees if you get hooked up in any of those things, all what you will have is the five aggregate. So therefore, he creates sort of knowledge of dispassion. You have a dispassion, but that dispassion is not something to cry about. That dispassion is not something to destroy the whole world. It's a knowledge. So that knowledge is, there are some beautiful similes explaining that. And it says, when you have the knowledge of dispassion, it is just like a golden swan that delights in the 7 lakes in the foothills of Chitta Peak. So it's a peak in Himalayas, and there are very beautiful 7 lakes. And in those 7 lakes, this golden swan delights in those 7 lakes and is not getting any delight in the filthy puddles at the gate of the village of the outcasts. So it is very, in a very condemning manner, Blessed One is using. They are the filthy puddles. It is not in the village, even at the gate of the village. It is not just the gate of the village of the outcasts. So we are not, it is not, discriminating people, but Buddha is taking this simile in a manner to show how the practitioner will receive, will accept this knowledge of dispassion. So he doesn't become confused, doesn't become agitated when the dispassion happens. Of course, initially the practitioner will have such a mentality, and he will be feeling that he's lost in the wild. He may be feeling that he's lost in the sea. He may be feeling that he's lost in a desert. But over time, when he starts enjoying that seclusion from the sensual world, from the five aggregates, and he will be delightful, like the golden swan that takes delight in the 7 lakes in the foothills of the Chitta Peak, instead of coming to the filthy puddles. So this five aggregates, such a person considers as filthy puddles. So therefore, once you may be able to remember, in the Markandeya Sutta, Blessed One meets a family of what you call Miss India, we will say, in those days. She has been a beauty queen. And when that woman goes with the parents, and the father is a bit of a person who has a bit of a knowledge, and he has seen some footsteps, and those footsteps, by seeing the footsteps, he immediately thinks this should be a person with so much of abilities and a very skillful person. And therefore, this person, if he is a male, is the perfect person for my daughter. And then he tells the daughter, and then follows the footsteps and finds the blessed one. And after seeing the blessed one, tells the idea to the blessed one. Blessed one says, I won't touch this filthy something, something. He says, I exactly don't remember the words. Even from my toe of the foot, he says, this filthy mass of, say, for example, flesh, I don't touch even from the toe of my foot. So that is how a person with dispassion will be away from the what do you call five aggregates. So I'm not asking if you are married, just go and do that. But that is a mentality that gradually develops when your practice is happening. And for that to happen, it takes a long time. And because we have been conditioned ourselves with so much of passion to the five aggregates, not only our five aggregates, to satisfy our five aggregates, we have been after a lot of other five aggregates. So it is not easy to come out. But some people are clever. Some people are able to do it because they have the sufficient skills already gathered from the previous existence. So therefore, or maybe from the current life practice, they have developed their practice to a greater extent. So therefore, gradually, and this is a gradual process, gradually you will tend to be dispassionate. When you tend to be dispassionate, you see that you are changed. It's not the same old person that has been there going, going after parties, going after clubs and going after girls, going after drinking and all that. You gradually come out of it. And this is why the Blessed One says, if when you are mindful, you will have the purification. He says the purification of beings. I'm taking that verse once again in this talk. This is how you become purified. You may have been doing all nasty things with a lot of passion, but with the practice of mindfulness, you get the ability to see yourself. You become a mirror to yourself. Mindfulness become a mirror to yourself. When the mindfulness become a mirror to yourself, you have an alternative that you have been looking after to get the pleasure that every living being is after. So have that pleasure. You realize that you don't want five aggregates. And you realize that pleasure comes when you are going out of the pleasure seeking principle that you are following at the moment. But when you become dispassionate, the pleasure is so much high because there are no frictions. There are no frictions arising from the five aggregates, not only from physical process, even from the mental process, there is no friction. So as a result, seeing dispassion does not lead to commit suicide. So when a lot of people say, don't practice because people get dispassion and they go mad, and some even commit suicide. It is not so, but provided you have the right teacher. But if I met someone on Sunday, and it was a couple, and they said one of their nieces have been practicing, and she has come to some stage in the practice, and that experience has been told to the teacher. Teacher said, stop the practice, because they don't know what's happening. And so therefore, it is very important for you to have the right teacher. I mean, of course, you should have a lot of merits to have the right teacher as well. You should be a very very honestly a person looking for Nibbana, looking for Nirvana. If you are a person looking for Nirvana, Buddha will give you the right teacher. But if you have in the bottom of your mind to some other nonsense other than Nibbana, then you are asking for trouble. Buddha will not give his disciple because you are not ready to receive them. So you should first have the right receiver to grasp, to catch, to receive the vibrations of Nibbana. Then you will have the right teacher. So therefore, what I want to say is, when you get to this knowledge of dispassion, you have answers. So you are not going mad. You are not generating the craving for non-existence. There is something called vibhava tanha. So one may argue or one may think, if we are getting dispassion about the five aggregates, then it is better not to have five aggregates, one may think. It is not that stupid thinking. What the Blessed One says is, not that you start hating it. You use the five aggregates that you have now to see its nature, to understand its nature, not that you hate it. You change the way you look at the five aggregates. You change the way that you treat the five aggregates. And that way is 100% observation of what is happening, but giving the basic necessities for the five aggregates to survive, because they are surviving on defilements. So we have got to give them food. We have got to give the eyes some form. We have got to give the ears some sounds. We have to give the nose some smell. We have to give the tongue some taste, body some tactile sensation. They are necessary because these five aggregates are out of defilement, so it requires some sort of defilement. So you give those defilements not in excess, only for the continuation. So therefore, you don't start hating it. You don't start neglecting. So therefore, you will not crave for the what do you call vibhava tanha. You will not crave for the loss. You will not crave for the destruction of the five aggregates. That is the vibhava tanha. You have a craving for make them disappear. No, that won't happen, because if you have the right teacher, he will show what's going on, and then you will be gradually from the dumbbound experience that you get from the knowledge of appearance as terror and from the knowledge of danger, that will gradually turn to a knowledge of dispassion. So you start, not that you are going to annihilation, but you start understanding the need to feed the five aggregates and the five senses, and you feed the sufficient amount, and you do something to survive, and then pay as much time as possible for your practice, because now you have seen a better alternative. So this is the way the practitioner gradually gets more close to the practice, like that swan. And also there is another beautiful couple of examples, and it says a lion king who is kept in the golden cage of the king will not like the cage, but he will like the wild, far, far away in the Himalayas, because that is his abode. So therefore, there is no point giving golden cage for such a lion king. So you become a lion king, you will have so many things, so much of things to over satisfy your five senses, but you will like the wild, you will like seclusion, you will like a foot of a tree, you will like an empty house. So that is why we have an empty house in Brisbane. So a lot of people, anyone who wants, we don't have sufficient space yet, but we will get there. Any Lion Kings are invited there. There are no golden cages, but you have enough, plenty of seclusion. You can enjoy there, and we are going to have something like that. Hopefully, even in Sri Lanka, there are some people. We are fairly interested in doing something like that. So I'm giving them leadership as well. So we will see how I can tear myself into two countries and help people. Anyway, that's not the topic. And also there is another beautiful simile given in the book. And it says, Tusker, whose 7 places are touching the floor. We call it Saddanta Hasti Raja, which means such a huge tusker. And he becomes huge tusker and Saddanta because there are 7 places are touching the floor. The 4 of them you know. Those are the 4 legs. And then the 5th one is the trunk. And the one in the middle is the 6th, and then the tail is the 7th. Right. So all these 7 things are touching the floor, and such a tusker is called Saddanta Hasti Raja. And that tusker will not like again golden cage, will not like royal food. What it would like is thick forest for it to live happily. And he will have enough legs, he will have enough food that he would like to have. And he would be able to keep walking so many miles a day and then keep fit and happy. So therefore, such animals would not like cages, irrespective of how best they are. So similarly, the person with dispassion will not like these 5 aggregates, irrespective of what luxuries you have. You will love seclusion. So I remember when I was a layperson, I come from office on Friday and throw the bag at home and take a shower, straight head to Kolo Temple. So which was 20 minutes from my place those days. And when I go to Kolo Temple, one thing used to give me the furthest scooty and go down the hill, and it's about 700 to 800 meters and really tiring when you get there. And when you go there, you don't have a toilet. You just have a water tap, and there are no lights, and it's not a proper kuti. It's just a hut, and I have just a candle. I can't keep a candle lit and sleep, and the following day definitely I know it will be my dead body. So therefore, although there are no luxuries, and when I go to that place, I was feeling that I was in the heaven. Such a release when you go to a jungle like that or the forest like that. So therefore, when you develop this passion in this manner, we either liking or disliking, or sooner or later, you gradually move towards the seclusion. and so that you will be able to enjoy the dispassion. And having said that, that does not mean that you completely go away from the world. Completely going away from the world is not knowledge of dispassion. It is the hatred. So we should have some connection with the rest of the world. Then only we can see that, then only we have the opportunity for us to test our dispassion. We should love the dispassion. We should provide all the necessary requirements to enjoy dispassion. But it should also not be overdone. If you overdo that, then it gradually generates hatred underneath. So therefore, it has to be very equally balanced. So when your practice is developing in this manner, the mindfulness has developed or evolved to a greater extent. Your energy faculty has evolved to a greater extent. And you know what food to eat and how much to eat. And you see the impermanence of many things. You see the non-self of many things. You are not easily agitated. You are not easily annoyed. Even if you are annoyed, agitated, you start feeling it much earlier. When you feel it much earlier, some people may get disturbed, but there is no need to get disturbed. You feel it earlier, not that you are bad, but because your what do you call your sensitivity is high. So therefore, the knowledge of dispassion in this manner will gradually pave the way for you to get yourself relieved from the world. You will gradually, you may want to gradually release the negative energies that you have been accumulating to hold these five aggregates. These five aggregates, we don't just call them five aggregates, we call them clinging aggregates, five clinging aggregates. So now with this mental change due to knowledge of danger and knowledge of appearance as terror, danger and dispassion, those negativities are no longer strong. So all these negativities were used by the entire mental process. The negativities were used by the feelings. Negativities were used by the perception. Negativities were used by the mental volitions. Negativities were used by the consciousness at their in their respective functions in the mental process. So those negativities are no longer active. They are idling. Not only they are idling, they have been identified and cornered. The bases of such negativities have been identified and cornered. And those bases are the impermanence, non-self, and the suffering nature. So your viewpoint, we call it drushti, is changing. So when it is changing, those negative when those negativities are no longer required, when the clinging is no longer required, so you will naturally in your practice, those things start getting activated and getting ready to move away from the system. So when they are getting ready to move away from the system, it becomes another drama. And you may feel that the entire body is stuck. You may feel that the entire body is getting pressurized. You may feel that the entire body is closed from both the ends, but someone is feeling air, someone is feeling water, and you may feel so much of pressure because now only you really see the meaning of clinging. And it is When that state comes, it shows a sign of desire for deliverance. So that's the next stage. Because of the dispassion, you don't try to keep the negativities and you try to flush it away. And you may feel like that your bottom is completely covered and you are given some medication to purge, medication to have diarrhea, right? So there is no way to go. So you get so much stuck inside. So you may feel like that. And for some people, you may feel it in the entire body. Some people may feel it in the tummy. Some people may feel it in the chest. Some people may feel it in the throat. Some people may feel it in the head. For some people, it may be a process. So that is, if that is happening, it is again another stage of the practice. And that is showing your desire to these negativities being flushed away. We call it desire for deliverance. So if you get scared of those things, and if you go and see 1,000 doctors, and if you go behind 1,000, healers, then you are not giving any credit to practice. You don't give any credit to yourself. You don't give any credit to your teacher. You don't give any credit to Buddha and Dhamma. This is coming because of the practice. So since it is coming because of the practice, if you really have the faith, if you really have the energy, now this is where you will have to, determine yourself, no matter what happens, I will keep observing this. So when you feel this, the books are saying that you may feel like that you are caught up in a net. You will be like a fish caught up in a net, and the fisherman is pulling the net, and you are somehow or other trying to get to the water. So that friction, that pressure, you will experience. Or another simile that is given is you may be like a frog that is in the mouth of a snake. The snake has caught the frog, but is trying to swallow. A snake is trying to swallow, and the frog is trying to somehow or other escape. So that tug of war is going on. So you may feel something like that when you practice. And for that to happen, the practice should really mature. And it will mature gradually if you become a choiceless observer. It is not just choiceless observer. You keep that choiceless observing capacity to the fore. That becomes the driver. When that becomes the driver, you absolutely don't do anything, but becomes 100% vigilant, becomes 100% observant, no sleeping. You are very observant to anything that happens, any subtle thing that happens. I mean, it is not easy, but possible. When you keep on practicing for some time, those things will happen. So when that happens, when that pressure, if you keep observing, and a lot of people think at this stage they are going to die. And it is the exact thing that is happening at the death. Even at the death, what happens is the body can't any longer function. But the mind somehow or other wants to be with the body. So at the time of the death, your body is trying its level best to breathe and continue the mental process, but cannot be done. So it's like, stuck in a net. It's like a frog in the mouth of a snake, right? So it is something that will happen at the time of the death as well. But this situation is a situation not at the time of the death, but it is the death experience while living. So this is where the Blessed One is taking us. When you can observe the death while living, it is something that none of the so-called scientists can even think about. They can see others are dying. They can see what is inside after death. But they absolutely have no clue what happens when they die. So this is why this experiment is called Noble Quest. This is why it is called Arya Parveshana. Buddha is giving an individual to see not only the birth, not only the existence, even his own death. So once you have seen all these things, then you are enlightened. And it is that point that the Blessed One is bringing us. So coming to this stage is that experience, but still things are not over. Still things are not over. You will have to keep on practicing. You will have to keep on sharpening the so-called choiceless observation. You will have to you should not have at least a minute impurity in keeping the mindfulness to the fore. If you have very subtle, very very subtle, very neglect. I don't get the word. Something which is not significant. Even if you have a very insignificant amount of impurity at this stage, even that should go. Right? So therefore, at this point, keeping the mindfulness to the fore must be not close to perfect. It should be perfect. In this stage, without our knowledge, there will have lots and lots of mental suggestions, mental planning, mental alternatives, getting bombarded, being bombarded with us. So you may get caught up in one of those things. So therefore, what they try to do is they try to somehow or other bring some passion, somehow or other cling on to something, somehow or other make things permanent, somehow or other make things pleasurable, somehow or other trying to make things under your control, trying to hold, put some negativities to the thinking process will come. So, but if you can keep observing and continue to do that, it becomes the knowledge of reflection. Things are happening. It is completely out of your control. You have the desire to deliver. You are stuck in the mouth of a frog. I mean the snake. But you don't give up. You just keep observing, keep observing, keep observing. Keeping the mindfulness to the fore. At this stage, it is not keeping the mindfulness to the fore. It may have been changed into equanimity, which is being continuously polished, which is being continuously purified by mindfulness. Because you are very now at this point, you are very very balanced minded, very equipoised mind. That is what we call Samahita. That's the name of our group. You have perfect equipoised mind. That equipoised mind is trying to be attacked by so many bombardments, but all these things are being kept at bay by the mindfulness behind it. So your equanimity getting purified by the mindfulness, and then that continuation is called the knowledge of reflection. What it does is it continues. The reflection of mindfulness is being continued. So when that happens, even if there is any form of mental formations, now there are no physical formations happening, there are no verbal formations are happening. They're very minute, insignificant, but strong, strong mental tendencies, undercurrents, underlying tendencies, turning the tense into mental corruptions will also stop, or at least to some extent it will stop. When that stops, then it will be the equanimity of formations. When you have become equanimous about formations, mind is now not accepting any suggestions. There are so many suggestions and alternatives, but simply keep observing, 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 perfect equanimity, and then the frog will be able to come out of the snake's mouth, and you will have an experience that your bottom is no longer tied with anything, and the release is happening. So therefore, there will have a huge release. You are not no longer stuck in the net. You are not trapped with anything. You are completely released. So that is an experience. So once that happens, so when you have that experience, and if you don't question what is now happening, then it becomes a knowledge. And if you attribute to the practice, then it becomes a knowledge. So that is called knowledge of equanimity of formation. And once that happens, and if you keep continuing the same thing in your practice, now when this happens, now you have completely perfected the path, but work is not yet over. You will have to keep on doing this. When you keep on doing this, sooner or later, you will gradually start walking on the path of liberation. Now the liberation is happening. So may you all have the opportunity to reap the maximum benefit of this liberation path. And that's the end of the talk. That's the end of this particular discourse, which is very wonderful to any practitioner. Teruvan Sarat.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, so we can take some time for questions if you have any.
I have a question, Bante.
Yeah.
Could you give the the steps, like in the talk there were steps, and the last one being equanimity of formations. Could you repeat all the steps from the start, the list of steps, if that makes sense?
No, some of the sections of the question was not clear, because I don't know whether it's your connection or my connection. It was not clear.
So you said the last step was equanimity of formations. Could you remind me the other steps?
Other steps of the path.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have been repeating that so many times now.
I know. Could you remind me one more time? Sorry. I was just thinking about that. I forgot all the others.
That is the 8th one. The first one is knowledge of rise and fall, dissolution, appearance as terror, danger, knowledge of dispassion, knowledge of desire for deliverance, knowledge of reflection, knowledge of equanimity of formations, knowledge of conformity knowledge. So, I mean, it is not necessary for you to know these things. These things will be necessary when you teach someone. And before teaching someone, it is very important for you to have these things yourself. And then it will be very easy to teach. And therefore, a lot of people are not talking about these things because they haven't gone to this depth. And even when I started learning them, although I had some practice, you will have to read hours and hours and hours to understand what the heck these people are talking. And then only you will be able to gradually get this knowledge. But that is simply book knowledge. But if you have some practice of these things, then they are pure gold. They are invaluable. So just rather than knowing these things in an orderly manner, give the priority, give the significance to the practice. I'm sorry, I'm not discouraging you, but I don't want you to get sidetracked.
Can I ask another sidetrack question? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead. Go
uh,
ahead. This is the time for
you,
discussion.
you, you said there was another one. That's why I asked to give the list of one, conformity knowledge. But I don't know if you touched on that specifically.
No, I mean, conformity knowledge is the continuation of the process. You just keep doing
Okay,
the
all
same
right,
thing.
okay.
Yeah. You are listening very intently, it seems. All right. Good.
There
No,
are
it
some
is,
there.
it is,
There
it,
are some there.
it is good, people to listen to those things carefully. All right. Any other question, please?
Yeah, I might as well ask a question as well. Um,
All right.
this is just about sort of my day-to-day life. So recently I made an observation that things are going along very smoothly in my life. Um, uh, so like I put it in the words I put it is like not much bad things are happening to me. So many good things are happening. The bad things are much less. And it could be, and this is a just observation, it could be something that I have less reaction to what's happening out in there in the world, or it could be a case of this is the two thoughts that have appeared to me that my the good deeds that I've done have overpowered the bad deeds. So then there's much less bad things happening to me. What do you think of that comment?
No, there is another reason. And when your lay life is being kept so smooth, it can delay the delay um, um, getting into the practice very intently, because you're on song now. So you don't have any motivation to see the suffering nature of the world. So therefore, everything is seen as on a rosy bed. So it was the same thing even for the Lord Buddha. But he did not see anything. It was so cool with him, so smooth with him. But the day he went out, he realized that everything is not like that. So therefore, I mean, not wishing anything bad to happen. It is better to have things going smoothly. But I'm just saying another reason that everything is going smooth is because in your age, not only you, and there are a few young people here, including Kusal. When you compare yourself with other youngsters, other young people, young adults, you guys are way ahead. So therefore, don't rush for things as well. Although I'm saying that it is being delayed. I mean, in your age, I was not at your stage. So therefore, go slowly, because this is a path that should be taken in my view, in a systematic manner. We should not be emotional about it, and enjoy the happiness you have. It may be due to no reactions as well. It may be due to the good deeds that you have done are reaping benefit now, or it may be the other one as well. Mara is not giving you anything bad, because if something you see, then you will completely give up everything and go to the path. Then it is a loss for the Mara. So Mara is keeping you on a rosy bed, but doesn't matter. now you are cheating Mara as well. Enjoy Mara's side, and also you are practicing Buddha's side as well. So gradually that practice will kick the Mara off in due course. So that's my thought about it. Anything else? Teruvan Saranai.
Teruvan Saranai.
Hello, Peter.
Hello, how are you?
Pretty good. Do you have anything to talk?
Only one question probably sounds a bit silly, because it's like probably a basic one, but when you say mental volition, what is I don't understand the exact full meaning of the volition word. Like, is it intent, mental intention, something like this?
Yeah, it is the intention. Yeah, it is the intention.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's okay. In Grossman it is intention, but this intentions when it is happening physically, very gross we can see. When it is happening verbally, it very gross we can see. But even mentally, the surface layer you will be able to see when you are doing things intentionally. But over time it goes to a very subtle layer. You can't identify whether you are doing it purposefully or whether it is happening.
Yeah.
So there are very subtle volitions involved, and you will be able to even avoid them when your practice deepens. And it deepens to that stage if you keep the mindfulness to the fore.
Okay, thank you, Bhante. Teruvan Saranai.
No problem. Teruvan Saranai.